In this video, I'm going to be dealing with the two beasts in Revelation chapter 13. And apologize to you, Mount Zion 211, for getting a little slack, but I got occupied on some other things, and but I'm back on track with it now in dealing with the two beasts of Revelation chapter 13. And in identifying these beasts, there's some things we have to remember. The best way to understand the book of Revelation disappeared with the generation to which it was written. In other words, this was written at a specific point in history when specific things were happening to those people, and they would have understood what John was writing and what he was trying to say, even amidst all the symbolism in the book of Revelation. So the best we can understand the book of Revelation disappeared with the generation that it was addressed to. And when we try to when we attempt to identify the two beasts of Revelation, it is to transmit the meaning to modern hearers. In other words, we want to transmit what John thought these to be, what his original hearers thought these two beasts to be, to our modern readers. And that takes more than just guesswork and speculation. But in that transmission, we must omit our presuppositions. And here's why you have to do that. If you bring your presuppositions to the Bible to interpret the Bible, you're probably going to walk away with the wrong interpretation of whatever you're studying, because you studied it in light of your presuppositions and were looking for answers according to your presuppositions. And you just can't do that, to me, and get a true meaning of the Bible. And here, when John is writing this in Revelation 13, you have the storm of persecution in full force. And John is making an effort to urge his Christians to overcome this storm, or to overcome this persecution. The sad thing is this storm became a full hurricane under Nero in about 64 AD and continued for some years later. So if we're going to understand who these two beasts are, we've got to put ourselves back there in John's day. And as Berkhoff rightly stated, the Word of God was originated in an historical way. We must understand it in light of history. And to do that, then, we can go back and study history to see what was going on in John's day, and in some way try to transport ourselves back into the first century and understand how those Christians took it. In other words, they took this book of Revelation, they read it and they looked at it, and how did they understand that? And so that is basically what Berkhoff is meaning, that we must understand Revelation in light of history and what was going on at that time. And another thing to remember too is that, like Daniel, the dating of Revelation is in question. Some take an early date on Daniel, and some take a later date on Daniel. The same thing is true with the book of Revelation. Some take an early date, which I adhere to the early date. Some take a later date. I think Daniel was written somewhere between 64 and 68 AD. There are a lot of people who believe it was written in 95 or 96 AD. And that does have some bearing on how you interpret the book of Revelation as to which one of those dates you look at. But in looking at the two beasts of Daniel chapter 13 and trying to see what did it mean to those people who originally heard it, and I think we can come to a conclusion then that the beast of chapter 13, beginning at verse 1, most assuredly was the Roman Empire that was doing the persecuting. And to me, the second beast, beginning in Revelation 13:11, would to the original hearer have been Nero. So you have a empire here, the Roman Empire, and you have the evil emperor Nero persecuting and killing Christians during that time. And to me, that's what the early Christians would have understood this to be, this evil empire, the Roman Empire, under the control of an evil emperor Nero, persecuting and killing Christians. So when we leave that then from the first century, the worst thing we can do is to speculate on who this would be in the future. It matters little who someone says it is or what someone says it is. The thing to remember is it hasn't happened, so you don't know. And you don't know when it's going to happen, so you can't possibly know and give names to something in chapter 13 that you can't possibly know about now. So that is why I've always said that if you're going to look at chapter 13 or the beast in chapter 13 and try in some way to make application of this for the future, the best we can say is that we will have an evil empire, whatever that empire is going to be, and it's going to be controlled by an evil emperor. And to me, that is the surest and safest way that one can interpret that for application for the future without bringing a lot of speculation and guesswork into the book of Revelation. And so, again, remember that I personally feel that our best understanding of it disappeared in the first century, and no later than the second century, with those who actually heard John or read the book that John was writing. And the best that we can do now is to try in some way through history, through books we read, or the writings of the early church fathers, to transport ourselves back there and come to an understanding of what John meant it. And it is little doubt in my mind that he meant the Roman Empire and the evil emperor Nero. And that is what we can look at when this world system comes to a conclusion. Speculation and guesswork has no place in interpreting the Bible, especially from the book of Revelation. Until next time, this is Ben Golly saying, God bless.